Board of Education regular meeting to order at 7:00 p.m. on Monday, January 13th, 2020. Members present are David, Kenny, John, Jennifer, and Susie. This time we move on to recognition of FCCLA. Johnson?
Yes. Yes, we do. We have certificates. Started a new deal a couple months ago and have asked FCCLA students and Mrs. Diane Johnson to come to be recognized on November 21st. We hosted the Southeast District Star event, and our Stigler students, we had 6 first place winners, 7 second place winners, 3 third place winners. We had several students that helped volunteer. There were over 100 different participants that day. So a lot of different things they've been doing, but that's one we wanted to make sure we highlight. So we have certificates of achievement for all of those. And if they're in here, Mrs. Johnson, if you would bring them in at this time. Stigler Public Schools Board of Education hereby recognizes Sarah Pro for representing Stigler Public Schools as a member of the FCCLA team and helping host the Southeast District Star event on November 21st, 2019 at Stigler High School. Congratulations. We've got a bunch. I'll read them all off and then we'll recognize them here at the end. Megan Perry. Is Megan here? Okay. Christopher Thompson. Connor Bush. Bailey Bunton. Ariana Matthews. Sydney Shelton. Brianna Starkey. Haley Underwood. Allison Wright. Arlen Gayton. Haley Hunter, May Riley Main, and Mrs. Diane Johnson. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you all. Thank you. This time we move on to recognition of the school board member month.
January is School Board Recognition Month and an opportunity for local schools and communities to honor Oklahoma's more than 2,700 elected school board members for their dedication to children in schools. Providing our community's children with a solid education is the most important investment we can make. We're proud of our district, and School Board Recognition Month is the time to say thank you and celebrate the accomplishments of our elected board members. In Stigler Public Schools, school board members must develop policies and make tough decisions on complex educational and social issues impacting the entire community. They bear responsibility for an annual budget of over $10 million, 1,260 students, 174 employees, and 3 school sites. School board members make critical decisions that affect Oklahoma children and oversee billions in educational expenditures. They carry out the truest form of representative government in our democracy, volunteer public service, and they preserve the core of our democratic land, public education. As citizen leaders, individual school board members face complex and demanding challenges, yet few people fully understand the scope and far-reaching implications of school board members' responsibilities. All Oklahoma citizens should recognize the vital contributions of these men and women and focus attention on the crucial role these elected public officials play in the education of our children. Their job is to establish a vision for the education program, design a structure to achieve that vision, ensure schools are accountable to the community, and strongly advocate continuous improvement in student learning. That job entails many meetings, numerous school functions to attend, reams of reports, agendas, proposals, and other information to read and study, and a host of difficult decisions to make. Although they wear many hats in the workday world, school board members put on a collective hat when they get down to the business of leading their school districts. Board members must pull together as a team toward a common goal, helping students achieve. Though they may individually disagree on certain issues, their role as a board is to constantly strive toward that goal. Board members contribute hundreds and hundreds of hours each year leading their districts. Whether it be crafting policies, hiring administrators, listening to concerns, or recognizing outstanding programs, board members always keep their eyes on the goal of student achievement. The time spent in board meetings represents just a small fraction of the hours school board members spend leading their districts. They also work hard at seminars and training sessions to keep abreast of the latest trends in educational leadership, are deeply involved in community activities, and spend many hours in the schools at extracurricular events. Their love for learning and concern and caring for students, staff, and community drives board members' desire to lead so students can achieve. In recognition of their dedicated service, January is designated School Board Recognition Month. This is a time to show appreciation and begin to better understand how local trustees work together to provide a better future for our children. This month, join with others throughout our district and state to salute the men and women who provide grassroots governance of public schools. Please make a special effort to tell each school board member that his or her hard work has been noticed and is truly appreciated. School Board, Stigler Public Schools Board of Education recognizes Susan White, President, David Huggins, Vice President, Kenny Whitson, Clerk, John Turrentine, Deputy Clerk, and Jennifer Turner, Member. For each of those, we have also printed certificates and would like to present those at this time. Susan White.
Thank you very much.
David Huggins.
Thank you, sir.
Kenny Whitson. John Turrentine. And reaching across here, Jennifer Turner. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Very much, that's nice. Okay, this time we move on to approval of the minutes from the December 9th, 2019 meeting.
Changes. Make most to approve minutes. I'll second.
Motion made by Kenny, seconded by David to approve the minutes of the December 9th, 2019 meeting. Kenny? David?
Yes.
John?
Abstain.
Jennifer? Yes. And Susie, yes. This time move on to approval of encumbrances.
Let me know if you have any questions. 316, 317, and 324, some of the biggest ones on there.
For just 2 pages.
Correct. Those are all state funds from Carl Perkins or Career Tech that we spent upgrading some technology in those classrooms. 319 is some updates in the gym, the pulleys. We'll talk about that a little later. We'll give our maintenance report. 321, the library books were for the high school library.
Make a motion, we approve the encumbrances.
Any seconds, Kenny? Motion made by John, seconded by Kenny to approve the encumbrances as listed. John?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Jennifer? Yes. And Susie, yes. This time move on to other financial reports.
Again, if you have any questions, let me know in there. Overall, it's the same as we look. The big thing, and I'll get it into my superintendent's report later on, our mid-year state aid adjustment came out. We thought we were gonna be flatline, maybe even 3%. We're gonna lose $134,000. And a lot of that is due to growth in enrollment across the state. State Department of Ed put out a press release, I think about a month ago, that Oklahoma now has over 700,000 students, public education students, for the first time ever. So that growth, they didn't anticipate a growth of about 7,000 students. So that pot of money is still there, but it had to be dispersed. The big winner across Oklahoma in mid-year state aid, if you've been paying attention, Epic Charter Schools, virtual schools, I think they increased over $44 million. So a lot of money going into that. We've got to do a better job as a school system, making sure we're not losing those kids. I do have that number, I'll pull up later on to how many currently. We offer the same service here. We offer not only the same service, but we provide more oversight. We have counselors, we have administrators, we have extracurricular activities that those kids continue to be in if they have that virtual need. If they need a flexible education, we can offer those same things, but we offer all the extracurriculars that they don't. So that's gonna be a hit we really didn't anticipate. And it doesn't just come from that, it comes from also our loss in students. You know, we're sitting about 1260, you know, if we looked at, within the last couple of years, we were in the mid 1300s. So we either need to replace those students somehow in order to recoup that money. So we talked about looking at about 2 million, you know, at the end of the year. Could potentially be about 1.9 now in carryover if we don't have any additional expenditures that we decide to release any of that general fund on. But overall, still pretty healthy. Again, sometimes when you look at month to month where we are, we're getting ready to collect a lot of things in the next month that we didn't this month, and vice versa. Pretty typical. When you look at month to month, it's not always accurate because we're gonna collect a little bit more next month. Our taxes just now came in, so that'll be showing up on next month's, and that's another over $100,000. So overall, okay. The mid-year cut from the state hurt, but we're not the only loser in Oklahoma on that. So something we can brace for and just tighten up a little bit.
Okay, at this time we move on to public comment. The Board of Education invites public comment at this point in the regular meeting. A, comments concerning agenda items, no one present for that. B, other comments in accordance with policy BED-R. We have 4 presentations. We have 15 minutes total. We need you to state your name, address, and the reason, and the group that you represent. And you have about 3.75 minutes, so whoever wants to start.
Okay.
What's that?
Here, there, where would you like me?
Right here would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Melissa Cross. My physical address is 10440 West Highway 9, PO Box 415 in Stigler. I just have a few questions for the board. First of all, when evaluating the superintendent, do you ask for other staff members' input?
No.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask is because the Oklahoma State School Board Association states the Board of Education must evaluate the superintendent on its own. Accreditation Standard 210-35-348A2 states that the governing local board shall be responsible for the selection and evaluation of its CEO, who shall be the superintendent. So legally, you cannot ask other staff members for input,
I
right?
said no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you tell me why certain staff members were encouraged to give input and email the school attorney by board members?
Because he told us to do that. And that wasn't for the evaluation. That wasn't for evaluation.
The attorney told you to do that?
That wasn't for the evaluation.
Okay, but who told you to do it, you said?
The attorney.
Oh, the attorney
our
told you to do it.
Oklahoma School Board Attorney, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Drummond that was here for the meeting.
Okay, he encouraged you guys to
He
do that?
encouraged us to send emails, but not for the evaluation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Does the school board have a policy in place to evaluate the superintendent?
Yes.
Okay. And does each school board member evaluate the superintendent, or does one person do it alone?
We all do it.
Everyone does it, okay.
All 5.
Okay, is it standard procedure to discuss contract renewal before the board has voted and evaluations have been done?
No.
Okay, then why was Mr. Beauchamp's evaluation and contract discussed before a vote and evaluations have been completed?
Who said it was? I mean, who said it was?
Well, I've heard it, we've all
Well,
heard it.
we've heard all kinds of things.
Right.
Listen,
Well,
we can, you know, we can say we hear all kinds of things.
Right,
but-
and that's why I'm here, is because it's came from a lot of credible sources, and actually it's not came from you to me, but from you to others to me, and it's just a concern because I just don't think that's the right way to do it. I know the board has always worked well, and it just seems like things are kind of going backwards. So it's a concern of mine and the community. So I'll move on to my third question. Considering that one of the board members is an employee of the president of the school board and one of the board members is related to the president by marriage, do you think they feel added pressure to vote in alignment with the board president on school board matters?
Read that one more time.
Considering that one of the board members is an employee of the president of the school board and one of the board members is related to the president by marriage, Do you think they feel added pressure to vote in alignment with the board president on school board matters?
Do you not think people can form opinions on their own?
I do, but I'm just saying, with the
That doesn't
president,
have anything to do with it. I don't think it has anything to do with it.
well, I mean, I just would feel a lot of pressure if my boss, was signing my paycheck and I was also voting on school board matters. So I'm just,
Has anything
that's
to do
just a
with it.
question.
I don't
You
think that has
it
anything
has
to do
anything
with it. No, we
That's
both
my
have minds of our own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gary Dunn, 20237 North County Road 4460 in Stigler. I just want to thank y'all for giving us an opportunity to speak tonight, to those interested and concerned supporters that we have here tonight. Looks like we've got several. Just want to talk about my concerns about our school, our administration, our faculty, support staff, and our actual physical facility needs, and the future of our school system and its impact on the community's future. Approximately 7 months ago, this board made the decision to step outside the local school system and community and seek and hire a superintendent that would guide our school in the direction and progression that most people in the community would like to see. I feel in doing this, this school board took a giant step forward. The board hired, the board hired someone who could be totally open-minded, not influenced by anyone in the community, a new set of eyes going into the future of this school. Different perspective. He came in asking questions, seeing what the needs of the schools was, finances, facilities, getting to know the people he's going to be working with and overseeing. This was a step forward and it's been greatly needed. In coming to this role, the person making changes sometimes meets with opposition for whatever reason. Sometimes those that have been closest to a situation, especially in a situation that has evolved slowly over time, can't always see the problems or be objectionable in correcting the problems. This is where a new and fresh set of eyes can be very beneficial. Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success. The measure of intelligence is the ability to change. Not everyone agrees with change and some don't benefit, but people who don't give change the opportunity will never know the outcome. Remember, progress requires change. I know I've been guilty in the past of saying this is the way we have always done it. We've never done it that way, or it won't work. I'm glad I've been overruled on my thoughts there. I come in contact with a lot of people over the days asking me what is going on with our school. There are many people, including teachers, support personnel, people in the community, that don't really want to say anything because they don't want to ruffle any feathers or risk their job. I used to be one of those people. Some things can change immediately. Others take some time and should be given sufficient time to see the results. People with closed minds and wearing blinders will never realize the good that can come from a new set of eyes and new or different thoughts, looking at what they thought was working just fine, but was certainly not advancing for the better. In this case, the future of our school system, the future of our students, the future of our community. After taking this huge step forward, please do not take 3 steps backwards and give our school system and our community a bad reputation and a black eye by making a poor decision. Make school board decisions for our students and our school system, for all of those school supporters that embrace change and progress. I urge everyone that is interested in our young people, our students, their education, our school system, and our community to get involved, ask questions, show support. As a supporter of our Superintendent Adam Beauchamp, I strongly recommend that he be retained as Stigler School Superintendent and be given a chance to show us all that we can do what he can do for Stigler schools in the coming years. I ask that you make professional decisions and not decisions for personal reasons. Thank you.
Here, here.
Amber?
Amber Dill. My physical address is 30208 South VFW Road, Stigler. And I'm here on behalf of those in support of not only Stigler Public Schools, but Mr. Beauchamp as well. There are many within our community that feel they don't have a voice, and I somehow wanted to help them vocalize their support. So I come up with a statement, a positive statement, a very positive statement, and with signature lines, and ask in return, it gave the community an opportunity to speak out. In 3 days, we received over 500 signatures. To me, these signatures say a whole lot about our community, considering the voter turnout is typically very low when it comes to issues concerning the school. It also shows when giving an opportunity, many are willing to stand up and support. Although change is sometimes uncomfortable, we believe it's vital for our schools. We ask that each of you take the amount of community support that has been shown into consideration before making any upcoming decisions regarding the future employment of our superintendent, Mr. Adam Beauchamp. I would like to share with you a copy of the signature pages in support of not only Stigler Public Schools, but our superintendent, Mr. Adam Beauchamp. And as the community, which stated at the top of the signature pages, we believe with the continued dedication and leadership, given the opportunity, our schools will prosper. Thank you. Copy for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amber. Johnny?
Do I have time
Yes, sir.
left?
Yeah.
My name's John Alstead. I'm a citizen of Stigler, 20487 East Cass Road. Ms. Cross kind of stepped all over me here, so I'm gonna have to go over a little bit of stuff. Susie, Miss White, my first question was in reference to the relations of the board, as far as Mr. Huggins working for you and Miss Turner being kin in a way, as far as, nothing wrong with that, I understand. I know it's not illegal, but you can understand why a person could say that the three of you could have the board, kinda, if y'all got together and you could make your own decision as you're saying. But, and Mr. Huggins, can I ask him, or do I need to go through you? I was curious, how long have you worked for Miss White?
No, he doesn't work for Miss White. He works for my husband and me.
And your company?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
yes.
How long have I worked
Yeah,
for 'em?
just curious how long you've worked for.
Been there since 2008, 11 years,
How long have you been on the board?
15,
15?
close to 15, maybe, probably maybe 14.
Were you elected or appointed?
I was appointed, then I was elected.
Then you was elected?
Went through 2 elections.
Okay. Whose recommendation was it to have you appointed? Do you remember it first? I know that's a long ways back, and I understand if you don't, but
I actually told them that if they needed a board member, I might be interested.
I understand that, but do you know who recommended you for the position?
No, sir, I have no idea.
Okay, that's fine. Really, that's my question was mainly about that, about the relationship of the board itself.
Well, it's not illegal to
I know that.
meet, and
I
we've
understand
been-
it's not.
I mean, we've been on the board for quite some time together, and everything's run really well so far, you know.
Right.
I mean, I don't think that's been an issue.
Well, it may not be an issue, but I want everybody to understand that, that Mr. Huggins works for you and that you are kin to somebody else on the board legally, not by blood, I understand. I mean, y'all can grin and laugh, but I mean, there's a lot of people
What are
that
we
don't
supposed
realize
to do?
that.
What are we supposed to do?
I don't know what to tell you,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Okay, all right, we're done. We're done.
am I out of time?
Yep, you're done.
Who's keeping the time?
Johnny, you're done, okay? We're gonna move on, so.
If he's got the floor, he's still got
I
time
have
to
got the
speak.
floor if I've got time to speak. Is that not true? I mean,
You are being out of line.
Oh, no, I'm
Yes,
not.
you
I'm
are, out of
asking-
line. I can stop this at any time I want to. You're done. You're done, Johnny. You're done.
is this true? With me not being out of time? I'm asking. Okay.
I can stop
Good
it at
enough.
any time, okay?
I
You're
got you,
done.
he said yes.
I'll move into superintendent's report.
Yes, that would be great.
Got a lot. I'm gonna speed through some of the stuff on the back end of it, but just to update some things. Dr. Kettles has been working pretty much most all this semester to complete our consolidated monitoring. It's an application that we've got to turn in. Typically, it's every 3 years that we do that. A lot of the things that we've had on the docket for board approval in the past couple months have been to make sure that we can turn in on this document that has evidence that we have the policies and procedures in place. So when you see Dr. Kettles, compliment him, because it has been literally a semester's work in progress. And we got that back. We had 2 things that we needed to change and update. He was able to do that. So we got that back. We're excited about being compliant on that monitoring tool. The gym, our maintenance crew have installed new handrails in that lower bowl when you go down in there. That's something that they were able to do completely on their own. It's a really big deal for Stigler Public Schools to have a maintenance crew that we don't have to contract a lot of things out, that we can do it in-house. So if you see those guys, again, Peepo Pemberton and his crew, they have done a fabulous job all year for us. Signage has been updated. All of our all-staters and the state champions, we needed to update some of those. We've had one that had an error on there, and they're bringing that back. So it's not, the project is not complete, but if you go in there, you can see some of those. Talked about our foundation on that front end 2 months ago. We are still needing one more bid to be able to think about moving forward on that, so we haven't taken any action on that. And then just today, they repaired the basketball goals, a lot of the safety, the foam around the bottom of the basketball goals. It had been years and it was coming apart, so they replaced that. They spent a bunch of time doing a lot of routine maintenance on the stuff. All 3 of our guys, they each kind of have a specialty, with Peepo being our main mechanic, Dennis Wright being an expert in locks and doors, and then Calvin Wynn doing a lot of stuff with welding. So all 3 of those guys kind of have a specialty, but together they make a great group. They've updated on the south side of the middle school, that in kind of that grass area. There's a parking lot in there that they've added some rock in there. Had been getting quite a few potholes. And then also, when I just went by there a while ago, they're still working that softball, football overflow parking lot right there. There was about 5 or 6 trees. Most of them were dead and dying. We've been able to contract and get that done at a very low, reasonable rate. And then they're gonna come in and, with some rock and resurface that. They've spent some time in the last month cleaning out all the boilers at both of our cafeterias. Still need to make a decision on the backside of our middle school in their office. Their heater needs to be replaced. We've had several air conditioner units go out, so it's not an essential need at this time, so we've kind of just held off on that for now. And then also in that south side of the middle school parking lot, you can see they've had some basketball goals up there that they took down and completely repaired those. They were non-working. Again, able to do that in-house and able to just weld that back up. Had a meeting at lunch today. If you guys know anybody from BKG, they've partnered with us several things, but they've got a couple different parents in baseball, and what they're gonna do for us is the entire backstop, they're gonna come in and replace that, raise that up to about 25 feet. A big safety deal, and also aesthetically, they're gonna replace the chain link with some netting, just kinda update that area. So we're excited about that partnership that's gonna begin soon, will be done before baseball season. This is the letter that we got from the Office of State Aid notifying us, and you kind of read into that. We talks about the average daily membership in Oklahoma is up over 6,500 students. The other thing I didn't mention, they also increased what they give to Lindsay Nicole Hendry Scholarship of just under $1 million. So all of that in there together, again, cost us about $134,000 in mid-year state aid. At the very bottom, you see the last 3 years where we've had students that have transferred out to Epic. In 2018, it was 3 students, 19, 9. This year we've had 10. And you see to the right of that, that's typically what happens. Students go, they don't have a great experience, and then they transfer back into public education. I guess Epic is public education, but brick and mortar public education being behind. And whether they've been gone for a semester or gone for a year, they come back with those needs. And we welcome them and we embrace them, but those kids are then a semester or a year behind. So that's currently where we are, and we're looking to find a way to recoup those students by making sure that we communicate with them when they come in, the options that they do have with us. The next several slides, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on each of them, but what I'm going to show you is first semester academic or student achievement results from the high school, the middle school, and the elementary school, grade school, and overall, very positive, very promising. You're seeing a lot of gains. Each of our departments kind of listed things a little bit different. The first year in doing this, we didn't put a lot of parameters on it. Has to be done this certain way. We just wanted to know where you are. Again, look, our pre-test, post-test too. Everybody's increasing, an average increase all the way across our science department. So very happy with the results we're getting there. Geometry, again, you can see first hour, second hour. Again, average increase. Math broke it down, lowest score, the highest score. But again, overall average increases, happy about that. Same thing in our algebra classes, algebra 2 classes, seeing a lot of gains. What you do see and what the promising part of it is, they're not just looking at that overall, they're not looking at the average. They know that student who's the lowest, they know that student who's the highest. They're targeting that low student and making sure we're doing everything we can to bring them up at the same time of making sure we're challenging that high student that, hey, just because you achieved at a high level, it's not your job to help somebody study or do something like that. We still want to push you at the highest level possible. Math analysis, trig, contextual algebra, again, gains across the board. Spanish 2. Social studies, we're seeing an increase from 28 to 81, so on and so forth. Again, didn't require a lot of systematic, hey, it has to be this way by department. You guys as a department have been collecting this stuff. How have you been collecting it? And when you get into English, this is pretty typical at a couple of schools. When you look at math, they're going to show you a bunch of math numbers. When you look at English, what do you see? They're going to talk about where their kids are. What I appreciate this is they know where we have the greatest need for improvement in each of these different areas. They broke it down. English has been doing a couple different things. They've got an formative assessment as well. They've got a reading plus. It's a computer-based remediation program that they've been implementing across the board with all their students. And you see the gains in there. A lot better when you see at our first 2 grades than the last 2, but we're still seeing gains, and that's what we like to see. Goes into the middle school, same thing here. Gains. Social studies. The more we can get and be specific on what standards and what objectives, instead of just saying, hey, a student has a B in math. Well, specifically, it's standard 1.2 that we need to go back and when we can target their issues, we can be much more effective with our time and much more effective in our instruction. Fourth grade, again, they do have a couple different ways to track this. Their star reading test, again, average gains plus 91 points from August to December. This is a big, and I'm more of a visual guy, so this makes sense to me. Summative test A, 99% of our students at the first of the semester were at that below basic level. That's the lowest level when you look at the 4 levels. When we look at summative test B, we've been able to move quite a few of those, get almost half of those kids to basic, proficient, advanced. So excited about what they're doing with fourth grade. You wanna talk about specifics? Here's some specifics. When they talk about standard 4G and 1.3, they know it's all about identifying 3D figures. So it's not a kid has a B in math. It's something that I know I can go back and target specifics. And that's one of those interventions before and after school really, really help. STAR test, you see from the right where they started at 1,017, have moved it all the way up to 1,240. How many students we've got proficient continues to grow. This is another big one here. The second one kind of, some of the text overlapped, but the first test in September, you see in December, most all of our students were in that below basic to basic level by December. We've shifted quite a few of them to the right, so excited about where we're going in third grade as well. Second grade STAR test, again, that's what you want to see. You want to see that bar graph moving up. Again, the more specific we can get, the more we can target those. On the bottom, they didn't list them, but each of our teachers knows specifically what those standards and those objectives are so they can target those students. Again, that's what you're seeing listed across the bottom. Those are the specific standards. When we know those specific standards and objectives, we can be very intentional in how we target that. Early lit, STAR reading. And then here's the last two, and I'll kind of toggle back and forth. It didn't show up very well as a visual, but you can see the kids on watch, intervention, and urgent. That's the blue, yellow, and red. We want to see those kids at or above benchmark in the green, and you see that second test, how many kids in that green level grew into that area. So excited about what we're getting kindergarten-wise as well. Finishes up.
Forgot to change it.
We got it right. February, right?
Oh, we changed it.
Yes, I did.
Oh.
Teamwork. Next board meeting, February 10th, 2020, 7 p.m. That concludes superintendent's report.
Okay, this time we'll move on to action topic. Actions may be taken. Added consideration of internet access statement and remote access certification for the 2021 E-rate application.
E-rate's the reimbursement. Having that allows us to collect that money, utilize. Without that, we won't be able to utilize E-rate funds.
Make a motion, we approve the E-rate application.
Second.
Motion made by Kenny, seconded by John to accept the E-rate certification for the 2020 and 21 year. Kenny?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Jennifer? Yes. David?
Yes.
And Susie, yes. That's from action topic B, consideration of waiving the absentee policy for the qualifying students.
Saw that attachment. There were 4 staff members from the high school involved in that, and they took a lot of time and a lot of consideration into making those recommendations. So I would ask for your approval of.
Make a motion, we approve the absentee findings of the committee.
Motion made by John, seconded by David to accept the absentee policy for the qualifying students as listed. John?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
Jennifer? Yes. And Susie, yes. Action topic C, consideration of the school calendar for the 2021 school year.
2+ month process for it, for us, kind of what we do in developing that. We've got a leadership group that meets every Monday. We begin talking about that early in November about options. They each took those options back to their sites, had discussions in their site level committees on what their preferences might be. They brought that back to leadership group. We decided again, took all their recommendations and considerations, formulated 3 different calendar options, emailed those all out to staff. I think we gave them 3-4 days to look at those options and reply back. Overwhelming response. This option was the one selected above and beyond the other 2. I think it was at least 2/3 or 75% of them voted for what this is actually option B. Very, very similar to this year's calendar. I would say the only major probably difference is We moved that professional development day right before Christmas into December, to come back when we come back in January. They felt that it would be a lot more preparation for the second semester as opposed to closing out the first semester, and then the first day back from January is kids and staff both. That gave us a chance to get staff prepared before the kids came back in January. And then the other thing is, you see those 2 Fridays in May that we've listed as day 2 and day 3 as a snow day option. Hopefully we have teams and students participating in those end of the year extracurricular state championships, and that gives them those Fridays to do that. It's after testing is over, so we thought it would be a great way to finish up the year on those 2 weeks of having Monday through Thursday instead of all the way through. Other than that, it's very similar to this year's calendar.
Make a motion to approve school calendar for 2021.
I'll second. Motion made by Kenny, seconded by Jennifer to accept the school calendar for the 2021 school year. Kenny?
Yes.
Jennifer? Yes. John?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And Susie, yes. Action topic D, consideration of approval of amended agreement for the Head Start program for the 1920 school year.
A lot of pages in there, but it's the 2 separate ones. One is the black and white all the way through. The first one is the red line with the changes. Like I mentioned last week, most every change just replaces the name from Tideway to CDI, which is the company that is taking over Head Start. So we would like to request your approval for that.
And what is our relationship with the CDI?
For us, minimal changes.
Minimal changes, okay.
And really the big change is gonna be, we're gonna write the next 2 checks to them instead of Codway. But anything other than that,
And
we
they take
should
care of everything just like Convoys did?
continue it on. The only thing that they've scratched from that contract that hasn't done anything to us yet is a transportation clause in there, but that was on them, that wasn't on
Will they
us.
still stay in the same building and?
Same building,
Everything's pretty much
from
all
what I
the same, except
understand.
it's just changing?
Same it's just different oversight. Correct.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept changes to the Head Start program for the 1920 school.
Second.
Motion made by Kenny, seconded by John to accept the changes made to the agreement for the Head Start program for the 1920 school year. Kenny?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And Susie, yes. At this time, we move on to new business. Any new business? No? Okay.
I make a motion we adjourn.
Motion made by David, seconded by Jennifer to adjourn at 7:43 p.m. David?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
And Susie, yes.
You have my backup. I thought I missed it. I said something.
I've got it for you.